In this video, I'm going to show how you can inspect and use notification messages. One of the issues with working with the notification server in FME Server is knowing what the notification looks like. To solve that problem, we'll create an inspection workspace which really just reads the message and pushes it to Google Fusion Tables. From there, you can then create a subscription workspace which uses that sample you've just created in Google Fusion Tables, uses that sample as a starting point for creating a workspace which will then subscribe and use different messages. So the first thing we do is we create a starter text file, and in this text file really is just the word hello world. You can put anything in there, you just need some text file to start with. Then you'll go generate a workspace, put in the text file, specify the data set, and then you're going to specify that you want to go to Google Fusion Tables. All you need is a Google username and password. And one other option I put in here under text file is to read the whole file at once. Set that to yes. And now what we're doing is we're reading a little text file that will act as the placeholder for our notification message, which we will replace once we know what it is. I just hit F2 and I can call this inspection if I want, and that will be the output table in Google Fusion Tables. I hit run and it reads it and it writes it to Google Docs. So if I drag this over here, we can now see there's an inspection table in the Google Fusion Tables, and you can see hello world. Now if I run it again, I'm going to get some errors, and this error is because the table already exists. So I can come into format parameters and I can set create table to no. I can save this and I can call it notification inspection. So that's what that workspace does. If I run it now with that create table option set to no, it should run no problem. And once I refresh this, once it finishes, we should see hello world in there twice. Okay, so that's good for a file, but the next step is we've created the dummy notification, we've created the workspace, now we've got to publish it, register it with the subscription service, and start to receive messages to Google Fusion Tables. That's fine. Don't need to publish that. Now here we check on subscription service, go to edit, and what it will do is what the subscription service does is it takes the message that's coming through and puts it and makes it the source data for the reader. In this case, the text line reader. So that's fine. Whatever we receive as a message, we want that to be read in through the text line reader. Assign topics. You can create all you want, but there's one that comes out of the box called job success. And anytime a workspace is successful, it will pass the success message now to this workspace. Click OK, publish, and now I can go and log into the web interface and run basically any job I want here. Now a key thing about that topic is it requires you to have entered an email address before it will receive that. Okay, so I've ran that out. Now our subscriber should have written a message to Google Fusion Tables. So if I drag that over and I do a refresh, we can now see the actual JSON in there. And so the next step is to create a workspace that uses this. Alright, so the next step is to create that subscription workspace using that message that came from FME Server and was written out into this column here. So I Control A and I copy that message. In here I'm going to create a new text file. I'm going to call it notification.json because that's what I have here. Almost spelled it right. There we go, that's fine. I'm going to edit that, and I'm going to insert or paste in that JSON that I got from Google Fusion Tables. So now I have that. That is going to be the start of my workspace coming up. So I'm going to create a new workspace. And now I'm building the actual workspace that I want to be the subscriber. And I'm going to go, let's go File, New, Generate a Workspace. And again, I want to go from text file. And that text file is going to be now that sample that we created. So there's that sample. It's a JSON file. Must be down here. Notification. There it is. I'm going to read that in. Read the whole file at once. Again, use that option. And then my output format, let's just say CSV. That's fine. Looks good. And we'll just put it in the out folder on my desktop. Click OK. And it generates a workspace which will convert the text over to CSV. Now what it does really is it just pushes the whole thing over, but we know that this is more than just a text file. It is JSON. Let me open that up. Just keep it top of mind. There we go. So that's what we're dealing with. So since it's JSON, the first thing we can do is we can disconnect this, add in a JSON flattener, drag it down, come into the options, and text line data is the JSON. Okay, that's perfect. And then we can log it. So now, what do we get when we flatten out that JSON? If I scroll up in the logger, I can see I get number of features output, status message, status number. So I can expose those things now that I know they exist, like so. So I'll say num features output and status message, and so on and so forth, exposing them all. Now, to write them out to, in this case, CSV, I connect it up and I say right click and I go copy attributes from transformer, attribute exposer, just like so. I can get rid of that text line data attribute. I can run this once to see it work. And there should be an out folder here I can check. And a CSV file. So if we just look at that in Notepad, looks good. It gets done what we want. And now we can go and we can subscribe or create the and actually put this workspace up. So now that we've created that workspace, we've converted that into a feature. Now we can publish it and give it another test. So file, published FME server. That's fine. Like so. I'm going to call it real subscriber because this is the actual subscriber that we care about. Can turn these off, and we won't upload it. That's fine. Now we're going to subscribe it. We're going to subscribe it to the job success topic. Could be subscribed to any topic. I'm just using that one. So now when we run a job, we should see in that out folder, we should see text line CSV open up. So I'm going to delete it. I'm going to open up the web interface, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to pick a different workspace just to show that it's operating differently. Lost in download. I'm going to put in an email, hit run, and the file should be created in here, a CSV file. And there it is. So that's how you can build a subscriber and inspect things and work with FME server. Thanks for listening.